I'm delighted that people in different countries like my books. It makes me feel I'm humbled by it.
How did you come out with the idea for this book?
Two elements. I'm interested with how evil the internet can be. And I came across the idea of the group of psychopaths, which is fairly unique. I can't find anything in the literature about similar groups. And I wanted to create a situation where they would feed off of each other.
Right.
I wanted to couple that with my teenagers. And if you think about your teenage years, on the one hand, you were smart and healthy and life was great, but you also do some foolish things. What I wanted to do was bring together the inevitable foolishness of teenage and psychopathology and connect them on the pages of a novel.
In this book, apart from investigating about the mental disorders, the internet and the dark web has a great role. So, how was the documentation process in that sense? Did you have to navigate the dark web yourself for your research?
Good question. Not as much as you would think, because the dark web is so expansive. What I did was I simply took evil and wrongdoing and made it in effect public, made it feel real. And if you think about it for a second, it's no different. What the 5 psychopathic killers do is no different from what their namesake did, Jack the Ripper, back in 1888. He didn't have the dark web. If you imagine for a second what he would have done with the dark web, would have been pretty evil.
Did you do all of this before writing the book or during the process?
I think all this stuff out beforehand. I ask a reader to come with me through a story, and it's important that I know every step of that story so that I know where the reader is going to be engaged with the characters and with the plot and the action of the story.
What was your favorite character of the Jack's Boys Club?
I am as fond of every one of the killers as I am of every one of the good guys. But there were moments in the book where I found, as writing, that I was thoroughly in the heads of both the 4 good people and the 5 bad people. So, I came to love every one of them, and it was very sad to see what happened to some of them.
I noticed in the book you use a lot of music references. So I was wondering if you heard one of that songs the Psychopath Club or Jack's Boys heard when you were writing the scenes.
Very good question. You're the first person to ever ask me that. And the answer is yes. Actually, I have to say, I hope that people who read the book and they'll see a reference to a song by Chris Smither or Bob Dylan or Humble Pie, they'll listen to it because that will, I think it'll give them a little extra.
What part of the book was the funniest to write and what was the hardest?
The parts where people confront each other, a fight or a battle, or those are always the easiest and most fun things to write. The hardest parts to write are where you create the psychological background so that when someone pulls a gun or has to shoot somebody or has to fight hand to hand or however, you have to believe as a reader that that's what they would do. And so you have to create in that character that ability, and you have to do that on page 10 and knowing that you're going to have them have a fight at page 400. That's the thing that I think is the hardest in any kind of psychological thriller.
Was there any moment where you felt writing this story like a challenge for you?
There were a couple of moments. I was always totally comfortable going into the heads of a killer, but when you try to create believable teenage characters, that's more of a challenge. And I very much wanted to get them right. I worked hard at that. That was amongst the most challenging parts of the of writing, Jack's Boys, Club de los Psicopatas. But on the other hand, it was immensely fun. I'm very proud of this book.